hope you're having a good day. This is my river tamarind. I actually dug this guy up in January. I just dug it up off the side of the road. If you watch the previous videos, I talk a little more about it. It was on the side of the road where it was kind of getting beat up by lawnmowers. I've done a couple videos on it since. It does grow quite aggressively. Today's July 13th. May 28th, I cut it to right here. It's grown so much it was almost even hard to get the whole thing in the picture up here. But I see, because of the aggressive growth, it's done okay with the scar. I'm going to try to show you guys a little bit closer look at that. It hasn't healed it completely over, but it's only been, a month and a half. So I'm not even going to, try to do any carving on it or anything like that. But I have noticed that this and the seedlings that I have, which I'm going to bring into work here in a second, they're starting to get some lower buds. I don't know if these are just kind of like random leaves that kind of pop out. It's a bud like right there above the scar. Again, you get a closer look at it in a minute. Tree was going this way. I made that chop that went this way. And so now I'm going to just cut it just above that node there. And I figure I can take care of the aggressive growth that it gets and maybe, let this go a couple more months and chop it again probably before winter. I will probably leave it alone for winter. But I can kind of take advantage of that and start chopping it a little more often and get some movement up here, but without any more huge chops like that one. I do walk by it from time to time, and I take and just bend all the branches down. They all seem to take it really well, except for this one. This one's so close to the top, it seems that it almost wants to fight to be the apex. And then in terms of, some common, designs or usually what you shoot for with the tree in our little hobby here and everything is to have the bigger branches down low. But in a way, when you see tropical trees like that, they do, have that strong apical canopy sometimes with some little spindly branches down here. So I don't think it'll look too out of the way. I mean, if I ever do need to chop it, it's one of the only branches that has like another sub branch coming off of it. I could take, this one off and just leave the sub branch on there. But then that's even growing over top of this one. And I've been thinking about cutting that off anyhow, but I'm gonna leave it on there for now. And so yeah, there's the scar healing up. And again, since that branch took off that way, I cut it right there, and then it's got that little node there. It seems to be getting a little sprout. Like I said, I don't know if that's just a little errant leaf or if that was going to be another branch there anyhow. And then before I put it back outside again, and go ahead, prune the roots off down here. Alright, and here we are, July 30th. Thought it'd be a little bit later before this was due for an update, but you can see that this thing really does grow very quickly. I chopped it here at the beginning of the video. All of this is new growth since then. This is new. And then there's a little sprout right here. As a matter of fact, I'll go ahead and get started with that, and then I'm going to take that off, because that then would put that at the inside of a curve. Let this go into pulling that scar up out of there. And also now that this sprout is coming off the side instead of on the bottom, that one is a little bit closer to that scar too, so I can let that go. But what I am going to do is that I'm going to do a little partial defoliation. I do want to get some wire on these lower branches. On some of these tropicals like this, the new growth always looks so very pretty and nice, and interior just starts falling apart. And I've had some people tell me that that's only on older trees, but even this thing was completely bare in January. This was just the stump in January, and already some of the interior growth here just kind of gets really spindly. And sickly looking. Because all the energy really is just coming out of the ends. Alright, I've been trying to get this around here where I can get you guys a better look at it. This is one of the uppermost branches, and you can see it's thicker than these down here. And this is all new growth just since January. This was just a stump. I had no branches on this at all. And what happens in a lot of these tropical trees is that they get so apical, meaning everything pushes to the top. These, if I was to just plant this in my yard and leave it alone, or, plant it in the yard, sell the house, and just, nobody does anything to it, these branches here would probably just be off by the time, you came back and look at it in 5-10 years. Because up here it grows so much it just shadows out everything down below. So in the interest of what I'm trying to do, achieve some taper, which this thing already has decent taper, just because of the way I chose to dig it up, or the one that I picked to dig it up. But I'm also gonna just kind of cut back on this some, in that this piece here, like I said, it's thicker than everything else down there, and it actually has two sub branches. All of these are just one branch with the set of leaves at the end. This one has two sub branches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut above the two sub branches there. See there, now that's a much smaller, compact tree. Alright, and disappointingly, I broke this bottom branch off almost the minute I got started going. Almost like what I was saying about how the bottom parts of these trees get shaded out, and that just makes them real spindly. I wasn't really trying to move anything or anything of the sort. I was just getting started, broke right off. But I was able to save the rest of it. Before I put any bends into anything, I did notice that this is now, looking as if, since I cut the longer piece of this off, this is now looking the strongest. So I wanted to come out here and get just the tip off, right? Just the tip. That's what he said. These two are the two lowest. I will leave the growing tips on there. This one doesn't have a whole lot of power coming out of it, but in the interest of, I think, of balancing things out, I'll only leave the growing tips on the two bottom ones and just take them off up here. This, you can already even see another little sprout coming out there. Again, just the ends off here. I would like that to go ahead and continue healing up, and this thing hasn't really got too much distance on it. I will leave this one, so I'll leave this one and the bottom two. Hopefully that'll help the bottom two just kind of spread the trunk out a little bit better than it already is, and allow this to pull that scar short a little bit more. Since that one branch broke, I'm not going to get quite as many curves out of this as I was thinking I could. But I didn't really want to just leave them all straight out like they were either. This guy here. The trees that I got the seeds from, the tree that I got the seeds from is actually behind a Burger King. Thing is almost like twisted up in a knot. That's why I actually originally even got interested in this species, because it looked like you could do almost anything with it. Looked like it sustained all kinds of storm damage and just kept coming back and back and back. I've got wire on it. It's biting in some because it is, like I said, a fast grower. But much like even on the bigger one, this thing has been getting these little sprouts lower. And so in the interest of, knowing that I started this from seed, you don't really want anything that's going to be 20 foot tall and, an inch wide or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chop it just right above where I have the wire. And the only thing I have invested in this is the time and effort I put in so far, and the wire and a little bit of potting soil I got in there. So hopefully that'll just kind of bud out. Maybe even let that wire cut in a little more as it buds out. Chop this guy off here, July 13th. So, this was just nothing. I think these down here might have been little buds, but, you can see now getting some branches down there. This is all new. This is all new. Again, I wanted to wait a little while before I really did this, but I can see right here, a good amount of bite in the wire there. Up in the air on whether or not I was going to take the wire off or not. I did kind of want to let it go ahead and bite in pretty well down here. Give it kind of a gnarly look. So what I might do is just try to rewrite this using some different grooves, or I just might cut it off. But I would like to keep that movement there too. Yeah, and that's not even very tight or anything, just kind of put a hook on there. And same thing with this one. This one though, I mentioned in the other video, I've got wire on it, so I can't really demonstrate now, but like up here I take and I bend them around, trying to make, keep them flexible. And I actually broke it right above the ground level. So that should keep some movement nice and low. I don't have the wire started, I have the wire started here. This one actually seems to be biting in a little more than the other one. And I'm going to cut it right at the end of the wire, leaving those two leaves there kind of on purpose, just as a little experiment. If the other one doesn't live because I cut off all the green, These two will still be there. But again, this one has all these, you know, there's a bud there, and there, and there, and even right under those two leaves there. Again, chopped it right there. That was that 17 days ago. Hasn't grown quite as much as the other one. I'm not going to do anything to this. I did actually rewrap the apex in this one once because I saw it was biting in too much, so you can see, well, you might not be able to, but it's kind of loose up here. Plus, from the first part of this video, I got a little extra curve in it that way. Starting to bite in some down here. This is where I actually broke it. I said in the other that I would go out and just kind of twist them and bend them around, and that one actually broke there. You can see it's starting to get a little bit of a bulge there. So just kind of wanted to let it turn back into itself some, and I'll let that bite in, get nice and gnarly looking down there.